What is up, awesome people of the internet? Wow. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to another edition of Quita in the Mornings. My name is Quita. We are in the morning and we're talking about some awesome women's hoops, okay? So, guys, I hope y'all are excited about today. We got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to talk about just the thing that has been plaguing the WNBA for a while now. And, we're going to talk about injuries, okay? We're also going to talk about Dawn Staley and the statue that she got that looks pretty awesome, and just all about that. We're also going to just talk about the homecoming games that are happening today. So I hope y'all are ready for it. And then we may have some time at the end for random talk. Anything you all want to talk about. Yeah. Okay. So let's actually get going with the big news of the day. And it involves everybody basically being hurt. We're about to start a new tradition, guys. The WNBA season for 2025 is almost here. It'll be here in the next week and a half. And already we are back to our least favorite tradition. Guess who's injured this week? That's gonna be a new segment that we're gonna do on this channel. It's gonna be guess who's injured this week. Because there's a lot of players injured. There's a lot of players injured. So let's kind of go through. Let's go around the league and check in on the current state of the walking wounded. Okay, and that's not funny. Injuries are not funny, but I thought that was a funny pun, like The Walking Dead, but The Walking Wounded. Anyway, sometimes I feel like my jokes are dumb, but I say them anyway because I think they're funny to me. Okay, let's talk about injuries. All right, and we first want to start in alphabetical order. So let's talk through the Chicago Sky. Actually, don't have any injuries to report, but the Connecticut Sun, right off the bat, they do have 2 players down already. Anissa Morrow and Diamond DeShields are out for Connecticut's preseason game, and we have some good old-fashioned undisclosed injuries. So we do know from a local reporter in Connecticut that Anissa Morrow was not practicing in one of the practices this week, and there is an undisclosed injury. What exactly that is, we don't know, but it could just be rest. It could be something else. We don't know. But Anissa Morrow and Diamond DeShields have both been ruled out of Sunday's preseason game against Seattle. Why? We don't know, but undisclosed. We don't know. Anyway, let's move on to a player that we actually do know what happened to her, and that is the Dallas Wings' Ty Harris. So Ty Harris is ruled out for Dallas's preseason game tonight, and that is due to a left knee injury. So Ty Harris is injured. It is her left knee, and she has been ruled out. There is an estimated return of sometime in the next week and a half, but we'll see. We'll see what happens from there. And there's a lot of talk about Ty Harris maybe being the starting point guard for this team, or coming off the bench for this team. Who knows? But Ty Harris being hurt for this brand new Dallas Wings roster is not great, especially because she's just a great leader that will not be on the court to start. Now, again, she should be back somewhat soon, but that's just something to note. Okay. Also, with the Las Vegas Aces, we have Dana Evans, who is hurt. We also have Megan Gustafson, who is hurt. And we have Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, who is pregnant. All right, so for Dana Evans, she has a left knee injury, and she has been ruled out. She has been ruled out of the Aces home opener tonight. Hopefully she's there in attendance at the game. However, she will not She will not be playing. There is an estimated return of May the 6th. At least that's what ESPN is projecting for her return date. And we'll see what happens on that front. Megan Gustafson is also another player who was announced injured. She does have a left lower leg injury, and she has been ruled as out indefinitely for Megan Gustafson. All right, so Dana Evans, knee injury, should be back soon. Megan Gustafson out indefinitely, and her injury is a left lower leg injury, out indefinitely. And Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, as I said earlier, she's pregnant, so of course she's not playing. She's not playing with this team, and she may be back by the end of the season, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that front. The Las Vegas Aces are not defending champs anymore. However, they are still trying to hunt for the championship again, and having, players like a Dana Evans, Megan Gustafson out does kind of hurt things a little bit, because this is the time where we see coaches kind of figure out rotations, figure out, okay, who to put in when, like what players work best together. And then when you have sort of borderline bubble players injured, it makes it a lot harder to, one, see who makes the roster, first up, and two, even if these players do make the roster, which I'm not saying they won't, but, even if they do make the roster, they may not have significant playing time because you haven't been able to work through all the kinks through training camp and through preseason games, which is why I actually think this is very important, because this is not that important for like the big head honcho players, but this is a huge deal for these sort of lower tier role players who will not have that opportunity to kind of work through all the kinks. Okay. All right, let's continue on. We have the LA Sparks next, and their number 2 pick from last season, Cameron Brink, is still out. Remember, guys, she tore her ACL. She played about 15 games last season before she ended up tearing her ACL. And of course, she's been out since then. Luckily, she has a podcast where she tells us she updates us on what's happening. So she's better, right? She is working out. She's doing some stuff, but she's not 100% ready to play just yet. And it looks like June is going to be the timeline of when Cameron Brink will return. So estimated return, June for Cameron Brink. She is still recovering from the ACL tear from last year, all right? Again, ACL tears are they're not good, right? and players will be out for a while. So even though the injury happened last season, it still takes time to get back from injury. So that is about that's what's happening with Cameron Brink. All right. Next up, let's talk about the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota Lynx have announced that Aubrey Griffin, the number 37 pick in this year's draft, she has actually gone through arthroscopic procedure on her left knee that happened yesterday on Thursday, and I don't think it's likely at all that Aubrey Griffin is going to make this team. I didn't have her making it before, but anyway, yeah, that's Aubrey Griffin. She did just have a procedure, so I am hoping and praying for the best for her and that surgery, and that the rehab goes well and all that good stuff. But I do not see her on this team come the regular season starting. So that's that. All right, next up, let's talk about the New York Liberty. I'm going to skim through them real quick because I actually want to talk about them a little bit more in the next segment. But for the New York Liberty, Breanna Stewart is listed as day to day, I should say, with a knee injury. And she has been limited in training camp so far. Remember, guys, Breanna Stewart did go through surgery after the Unrivaled season was over in March. And yeah, could she have gotten this injury during Unrivaled? Possibly. Did playing in Unrivaled lead to her waiting longer to get that surgery? Yeah, I think that's fairly easy to say yes to that. And so, yeah. Now we follow that bad news up with some more bad news for the New York Liberty, as Benijah Laney Hamilton, she had surgery as well in March due to a injury that happened in Unrivaled. She had a surgery to repair a meniscus injury, and she's expected to be sidelined for several months. So it's not likely that we will see Benijah Laney Hamilton back until probably August, which, again, these are the defending champs you're talking about. It's going to be a lot harder for them to defend their crown when two of their big players are injured. All right. Also, guys, Rebecca Gardner is still kind of coming back. Remember, guys, she has suffered a previous Achilles injury, and she is just working her way back with the New York Liberty. All right. Next up, let's talk about the Seattle Storm. Mackenzie Holmes is working herself back from last year's injury. She is on day by day. Day to day is her status. And I can't wait to ultimately see a fully healthy Mackenzie Holmes try to make some stuff happen in the WNBA. Because at Indiana, she was great. The Hoosiers. And now we'll see what she can do with the Seattle Storm. Now, Seattle Storm, also, they have two other players who are out for the season, and that is Nika Mule and Jordan Horston. Both of these players tore their ACL in the offseason for, overseas play, right? So Jordan Horston was playing in Athletes Unlimited, and Nika Mule was playing over in Europe. They both tore their ACL. It sucks. They're out for the entire season. Next up, let's talk about Georgia Amoore. Georgia Amoore, I talked about it yesterday. She has torn her ACL. She tore it in training camp for the Mystics, and she is out for the season. Also, Aaliyah Edwards is going to be out as well. She is dealing with a lower back issue. Aaliyah Edwards is out. She should be back in maybe a week or so. But she is out for right now with a lower back injury. So she would not be playing in the Mystics for preseason and whatnot. She will not be playing. So those are the injuries that I know about. Those are the injuries that I know about when it comes to the WNBA. Now, I did not even list everybody's photos on here, but for a small league, everybody's hurt. It's just like it's a thing, and I wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to talk about it. It's a severe thing that is not the best, but it is what it is. Injuries happen in the WNBA. Injuries happen in sports, and it sucks, man. It absolutely sucks. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see what you all have to say in the comments, and then we'll talk specifically about New York in just a hot sec, okay? Jay says, what's with the bad news? You're depressing us on day one of preseason, ? I mean, this isn't day one of preseason. This is the first preseason. We're going to see the first preseason games, yeah? So is this depressing? I don't know. I mean, this is just reality, guys. I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. Teacher says, I wonder who pays for medical and recovery for injuries that occur outside of the WNBA season, the W or Unrivaled or International. Let me get back to you on an answer to that, because I read an article talking about the difference between talking about Unrivaled and the sort of insurance policy that they had, where they would pay the salary. I don't want to misremember, so I'm gonna go back to that I'm going to go back to that article and I'm going to kind of summarize it, and then I will tell you guys about it. But I believe that the Unrivaled did have insurance policy stuff in place, whereas I don't think Athletes Unlimited did. Don't quote me on that. I will double check, but I don't think they did. And for Europe, it depends. It depends on what team you're on. So yeah, anyway. Anyway. Timeout Sports says, comments act like people made them do Unrivaled. I mean, players decided to do Unrivaled. They decided to do Unrivaled. It was their choice. And there's nothing the WNBA can do about it because, it is what it is. Emmanuel says that graphic is basically a whole WNBA team. It is. And I'm laughing, but that's because it's just how wild that is. But like it's actually not. It's really not funny. Like the injuries and whatnot. But it's life. It's sports. It is what it is. That's my phrase a lot of times. Eric says the WNBA needs to invest in Costco level quantities of bubble wrap. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. William says, wow, Quita, the title of this is horrible, and it's pretty accurate. Yeah, it is. That's why I named it that, because yeah, this is not a great look. Not a great look at all. But it's the reality of professional sports. It's the reality of the WNBA, because these players are basically playing year round, right? If they're a rookie coming into the WNBA, they've basically been playing year round, because you got summer workouts for college, and then you go straight into the fall for basketball, and then you're playing through the fall up until, if your team is really good, up until March. And then you take maybe a week or two off, maybe. Then you get drafted. Then you're flying off to where you've been drafted at, and then you immediately start training camp. And so there is a lot of constant play, and sometimes your body just needs a rest. And these injuries happen. And then for players who play overseas, or they're playing in Athletes Unlimited, or they're playing in Unrivaled, injuries happen. They happen. They absolutely happen, and this is the reality of the WNBA, because players are playing overseas. All right? Because players are playing overseas, injuries happen. Right? So that's something to know. So of the people who are injured, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's about 16 or so players that are injured right now, which is more than a team, more than players who would be on a team. It's unfortunate, but that is the reality of the WNBA. So there you have it. No games played yet, but there are plenty of bodies on the shelf. This is part of the time in the year when coaches are cautious, trainers are busy, and fans are already refreshing injury reports like they're box scores. Everybody's trying to figure out what's happening. Everybody's trying to hope for the best, that no one else gets hurt. But it is what it is. These are just preseason bumps and bruises, right? These are things that happen every single year. But if history tells us anything, this is just the beginning for injuries that will happen in the WNBA. All right? This list that we're talking about will kind of continue to get bigger. And as it does, I will talk about it. All right? We will be talking about who's injured this week, every week, to let you all know what in the world is going on. All right? And we'll track it. We'll track all the injuries, and hopefully we get to a point where players can make enough money during the WNBA season where they're not having to go overseas or play an Unrivaled or Athletes Unlimited or anything like that. They're able to just rest their bodies. We'll see if we get to that point. All right? We will see. Kenya says, it's the reality of sports. They will give an injury tag preseason to ensure their players are ready for the regular season. Well, I don't actually think that's the strategy for these players, though. Because you don't have to give them the injury tag. You just don't play them in preseason. Quinton says pregnancy is an injury. Pregnancy puts you on the injury. I mean, Cheyenne Parker-Tice is on the injury list for ESPN. I mean, I don't think pregnancy is an injury, but pregnancy keeps you away from playing basketball, and that means you're out. That means you can't play, and so yeah. Maybe instead of this being a injury tracker, maybe it should be just an who's out tracker. Thank you so much, James, for the super chat. Says bad news tracker. This is basically what it is. Okay. Let's continue on. Going from the entire league to just specifically focusing on the New York Liberty. All right. Let's straight focus on the Liberty because the Liberty are dealing with some injuries. And it's going to possibly derail their chances to win back-to-back titles. All right, so we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to move on to the other topics that we have for today. And again, I do thank you all so much for rocking with me. If y'all could, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. That really does help the channel out a whole lot. Please hit that like button. Okay. So, here's the deal. This was supposed to be the New York Liberty's year. They finally, after many chances in the WNBA finals, they finally won a championship last season. And they were looking to continue to succeed by going back-to-back. Maybe there was some dynasty talk being talked about for the New York Liberty. Breanna Stewart was returning back to this team. You had Sabrina Ionescu, who had a fantastic year last year. You had Benigni Laney-Hamilton. You had Jonquel Jones. You had a lot of players. Yes, you lose Courtney Vandersloot, but you add in Natasha Cloud. Like, this team is looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good. But we're not even at opening night yet. And the defending champs are already kind of holding their breath a little bit. Kind of holding their breath. And it's because injuries, guys. We'll start with Benigni Laney-Hamilton, who was a critical piece in the New York Liberty ultimately winning a championship last year. She tore her meniscus during Unrivaled. This is the 3-on-3 league. And she ended up having surgery in March. And, she's not back yet. And she's not going to be back for a while. And that is not good for a player like Benigni Laney-Hamilton because of how huge she is. Right? She had let me correct myself. She had an acute meniscus injury during Unrivaled, and she ended up having surgery in March. And there was talk about her being out maybe 5 to 6 months, which puts us around August, and it basically rules out the majority of the regular season for the WNBA. Maybe she's out longer than August, but August seems to be the earliest possible time that we will see Benigni Laney-Hamilton hit the floor. Last season, Benigni Laney-Hamilton was absolutely a core piece. This is someone who can play defense. This is someone who can play, who is an offensive juggernaut. Last year, she averaged 11.8 points a game, 4.2 rebounds a game as well. And she played in 22 games last season. Logged more minutes than just about everybody else besides Stewie and Sabrina. She's been one of the New York Liberty's toughest defenders. She's switchable. She could do a little bit of anything on the court. Now, she's gone. She's injured. At least until August. And this is not the only injury for... This is not the only injury for the New York Liberty, right? This is not. We have Breanna Stewart, who is limping into May, not actually limping, metaphorically limping into May, after a off-season knee surgery. In case you missed it, Breanna Stewart had her, again, meniscus. There is a similarity in these injuries. There's a similarity here. She ended up having a meniscus surgery as well in March after the Unrivaled season happened. She said she's going to be ready to go for the start of the season, but is still on the day-by-day list for the New York Liberty. And guys, truly, I don't know if she really is going to be ready to go at the start of the season. She played through pain, obvious pain in Unrivaled. Like, it was clear that in Unrivaled, Breanna Stewart was not the normal Breanna Stewart. Now she's playing through the pain in a league that she helped create, And that's great for her for powering through, and writing out the vision that her and Nafisa Collier had in terms of a successful season of Unrivaled. But was the risk worth the reward? I don't know. Because, the Liberty have not said much about Breanna Stewart playing in Unrivaled and rocking out with Unrivaled. Because, of course, she started the league. The WNBA is going to be supportive, all that good stuff. But I can guarantee you, the New York Liberty was probably thinking in their heads, if no one said it, they were probably thinking, hey, wait, you played hurt in a startup league while we are trying to build a dynasty and win titles in New York. I feel like that could be one of the things that, if I was the higher up, I'd probably think that. Now, of course, there's nothing you can do. Now, of course, you have to be supportive and all that stuff because, hey, these players want to make more money, and Unrivaled gave them the opportunity to do that and whatnot, and she wanted to play and all that good stuff, but she waited until Unrivaled was over to get that surgery. Now, did that injury happen in Unrivaled? We don't know. But was it possibly pushed back because of Unrivaled? I think so. And right now, Stewie is not 100%. She's listed as day-to-day. All right, so Benajelani Hamilton, gone until August, or at least gone on the court until August. Stewie, day by day, should be back at the start of the season. However, we'll see. So suddenly, oh, thank you so much, Miss Slip on Twitter, said Stewie said she played injured in the final, so maybe it wasn't caused by Unrivaled, but Unrivaled, I think, probably delayed her from actually getting the surgery. Because if she was feeling something in the finals, maybe she possibly could have gotten surgery January, February, That's the thought there. That's the thing. But now this super team kind of looks a little fragile, right? Natasha Cloud was added to this team to help with some defense, help with some leadership, get you another point guard in the building. You got Sabrina Ionescu, you got Jonquel Jones. You got a pretty good roster, a really good roster, right? You got a lot of players from last year coming back. But when you have some of your top players down, one is fully down, one is trying to get back to fully healthy. This is a system that's kind of compromised a little bit. So, let's not forget, guys, the rest of the league got better. Indiana is looking fantastic. The Aces added in Jewel Lloyd, right? Seattle, Skylar Diggins-Smith is saying that this is the best team that she's been on in terms of talent. The Mercury are looking very, very good with their big three in Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabli, and Kalia Copper. Like, they're looking really good. All of these teams, a lot of these teams have gotten better. And New York, with some injuries, possibly could lead to some early on trouble for the Liberty. Now, does this mean they're not heading to another finals? I don't know. But I tell you this, it means it's going to be a slowish kind of start for them. It's going to be a slowish kind of start. All right, let's get to the Super Chats. Thank you so much, James, for the Super Chat. Says, love button, just the facts, ladies. Lady, wow, I appreciate you for that Super Chat. Also, you gave another one. Says, late fee, I was late. That's the thing, late fee. Nah, I appreciate your support, James. I appreciate your support of this channel. Okay. So yeah, these injuries are very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Marilyn says, on your yesterday show, when you were discussing ACL injuries, you forgot Ashton Watkins. She was injured in January. I didn't forget. I wasn't trying to name every injury. Like, that was not what I was trying to do. I was trying to just kind of say a couple of names that people knew. So yeah, there was a lot of people that I didn't say. There's a lot of people who, like, recently in the last 2-3 seasons have gotten injuries that I didn't talk about. So I was just trying to paint a picture. I was not trying to literally make it exhaustive list. But yeah, she did tear her ACL. Yes. All right, let's get to the rest of you all's comments. Alex says, so interested in Jewel with the Aces. Yeah, I am too. I am too. I am very much interested. Eric says maybe Kennedy Carter could get a spot. I have in a separate live stream on a day when not that much is happening. We gonna do a deep dive about Kennedy Carter and why she's not in the league and what she's doing now. Okay, we gonna go through all of it. Okay, just not in this stream. Just not in this stream. But yeah, we'll see what the Liberty end up doing. This is going to be a test for Sandy Brondello and the Liberty. How can they survive through May with possibly Stewie out for a little bit and with Benijah Lenny Hamilton out? And then how do they try to coast their way through until roughly August, when Benijah Lenny Hamilton may be back? We'll see. Anyway, that's your update. That is your update on the New York Liberty. No Benijah Lenny Hamilton. No guarantee that Stewie is starting 100%. So the question about, like, can this team repeat? Really? The question I have for the New York Liberty is, can they survive the start of the season? Of course, like, in terms of, like, still as the top dog. Can they survive as a top dog? Right now, no. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see what happens. Okay, we will see what happens from here. And yeah, I'm just curious. I am very, very much curious to just see what happens, because yeah, injuries are a real thing, and injuries can derail a team. Remember, the Chicago Sky were looking like they were going to make the playoffs, and then Angel breaks her wrist. Kennedy Carter, or she messes up something to her wrist, so she has to have surgery. Kennedy Carter was out for several games. She was sick or like whatever was happening with her. And you had Elizabeth Williams out for basically the entire year. Camila Cardoso missed the start of the season. And so like that affects things. That affects things when players are out. It really does affect things. All right. Well, we'll see what happens though. We'll see. And G says, "Hey, Quita, do you think the Chicago Sky's coaching staff is better?" Yeah, I do. I do think they're better. Yeah. From last year, yeah, they're better. Yeah. There's no shade or anything to the coaching staff from 2024. It's just this coaching staff is better. Yeah, they're more experienced in the WNBA when it comes to coaching. Overall, more experience at like different levels. You have a former head coach that's on the bench as an assistant coach. You have one of the greatest assistant coaches last season as your head coach for this year. You bring in one of my favorite college players ever, Courtney Paris, someone who was one of the best big women that the game had. For a long time. She played at Oklahoma, her and her sister, like it was really great. So like you have a lot of like really great talent on the bench for the Chicago Sky. So yeah, I do think that the bench is better. Yeah, I do. All right, I do think they're better. Okay, let's continue on. And let's talk about a statue for a legend. So y'all know the saying, here's the deal. Y'all know the saying that people say, they say, give people their flowers while they can still smell them. All right? It's a saying that basically is like, hey, before you wait to honor somebody with a sign, with a statue, with whatever you want to do to honor this person, do it before they die. Do it before it's too late. Do it while they can still appreciate it and you're not just saying it to their grave, right? Tell people what you think about them while they're still alive. To me, that's basically what that saying says. And Columbia, South Carolina just gave Dawn Staley a whole statue, giving her flowers. And honestly, guys, I think it is about time. I think this is pretty awesome. So let's talk about what just happened this week over in South Carolina. Why it matters and why this is not just a moment, okay? I think this is just huge for women's sports. I love it. Now, let's talk about the statue built for a legend. Right in the heart of Columbia at what I've seen is like a pretty major intersection, is a 14-foot tall, 2,000-pound, that's really, really heavy, bronze statue of Coach Dawn Staley. It stands there. It shows her holding a basketball net, proudly standing on a ladder. It's a moment that is frozen in time. Like she just cut down the net after winning another national championship. And if you know Dawn Staley, she has done that thing where she has been standing on the ladder, holding up the net. She's done that 3 times. 3 championships, 7 Final Fours, 9 SEC tournament titles, a 457 win, 110 loss record, which is crazy good. And probably the most dominant women's basketball program of the last decade. Now, that is a bona fide fact. If you look at the championships that South Carolina has won in the last decade, you look at their record, you look at all that other stuff, and you compare it to any other women's basketball team in the last decade. Yeah, it is South Carolina. Now, as a whole, it's UConn, but in the last decade, it is South Carolina. And, South Carolina wanted to honor that. They wanted to honor that. And I think that's kind of cool. I do. But here's the thing. It was never about a statue. The wild part is that Dawn Staley didn't even want a statue. When the idea came up, Dawn was like, nah, no. She didn't think she needed it. Didn't think it was necessary for her to have a statue. And well, technically, no. It's not. It's never necessary for anybody to have a statue. Necessary is not the thing. That's not the issue. But when she heard that the stat was that, I think it was like less than 6% of statues in the U.S. are of women, that kind of changed her mind. Only 1% of women in sports have a statue. She changed her mind. Not just for her, but for, who she imagines like as the little girl who's going to walk by one day, way, way, way in the future, who will not know who she is. Right? That little girl, way, way in the future, will look up Dawn Staley. And Dawn Staley's hope, be inspired by her. Right? And I think that's a huge reason as to why Dawn was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do the statue. At least that's what she said. That's what she's saying. Let's do the statue. Let's make it happen. So let's talk about the location and legacy. This was not just placed in a random spot. This isn't just in a random spot in front of Colonial Life Arena. No, Dawn Staley did not want to be in the front of Colonial Life Arena. She didn't want that because what's in front of Colonial Life Arena? The CLA where South Carolina plays? Well, it's Asia Wilson's statue. That's standing right there. And Dawn was like, actually, nah. The space in front, it goes to the players, not me. So her statue was put somewhere where, people can look at it, but not in what I would call the most prominent place in for the CLA, right? It's near the State House, near South Carolina's Alumni Center. It is visible to people, and it's intentionally put there. Not in front of the CLA, but nearby, still where people can recognize and see it and whatnot, but not taking the place of prominence in the midst of players. Or at least that's kind of what Dawn Staley wanted, right? That's what she wanted. That's what she said she wanted. And the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, was like, you know what? Dawn Staley has meant so much to the city of Columbia, the state of South Carolina, the game of women's basketball, that he was like, you know what? I think we shouldn't just honor Dawn Staley with a statue. Because the statue is cool. The statue is very, very cool. But I'm going to do one better. I'm going to declare May as Dawn Staley Month. Dawn Staley Month, guys. So we saw flowers, placed in honor of Dawn's mother. Dawn had a playlist for everybody to listen to. And a lot of people, from fans, former players, and fellow coaches, showed up to honor the legend, celebrate the statue, and just say thank you to Dawn Staley for what she has meant to the game of women's basketball and to Columbia, South Carolina. Because this is not just about wins. It's not just about banners. It's about legacy. And Dawn Staley has changed Columbia, South Carolina. She's changed the South Carolina Gamecocks for forever. And she made it more possible for other former players to get into coaching and build their way up to the top of the game. And I think it's kind of cool. I do think that is kind of cool, right? Donna's involved, right? Remember, guys, she's an investor in a rival, right? She has been involved in trying to make a future for women's basketball players in the NCAA through the players she's mentoring, through the award that she gives every year, the Don Staley Award. That goes to I believe it's the best point guard, in the country. There's so many things that Don Staley has done, and yeah, sure, is she perfect? Nah, dog, nobody's perfect. But I think it's cool. Again, give people their flowers while they can smell them. Tell people what you think about them while they can hear it. I say that sometimes at the end of streams, at the end of videos, because I truly mean it. I feel like a lot of times people don't say, people don't say stuff, right? Say it. Tell people that they matter. Do gestures for people that you would do when they're gone. Do it while they're alive. Do it. Now the spotlight on Don Staley is permanent. It is pretty much permanent. So yeah. This isn't just a cool statue. This is a movement of sorts. The rise of women's basketball is here. The rise of women's sports is here. And this is a signal that, hey, there's a whole lot more women who are going to be standing at the top of ladders as coaches, as players, excited about whatever they have accomplished next. So shout out to Coach Don Staley, someone who has made history, someone who not only played the game at an elite level, but is coaching the game at an elite level and is teaching the next generation to do their thing. So, yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Now, whenever I go to South Carolina, I got to stop by. The CLA. I got to see the Asia Wilson statue. I got to see the John Staley statue. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of cool. And I just think it's kind of wild that South Carolina is doing so much, doing so much to just show love to what their basketball team is doing. I don't follow the rest of South Carolina sports, so I don't know in terms of how many other statues exist on South Carolina's campus, but I think it's kind of cool that they're doing this. Well, Rostam doesn't like that I'm not dragging time talking about statue. I mean, I wanted to talk about this, and so I'm talking about this. Anyway, yeah, it is what it is. If you don't want to hear about this, then turn off the YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what to tell you. Let's see. Row 2, thanks so much for the comment. Says some people miss the picture of this moment, bringing eyes to women's sports and basketball, which was what Coach Don is about, lifting up women's sports. Yeah, she's focused on lifting up women's sports. Again, that's what she says. I feel like she says it all the time. All right. Thank you so much, James, for the super chat. Man, James is on a roll today. James on a roll today says, thanks for the updates, Facts Lady. I appreciate it. Oh, I gave another super chat. James, I appreciate you. Mr. Moneybags today. I appreciate your support. Okay. And then also a lot of people are noting about the hat that Don is wearing on the statue. I'm not sure exactly what it says on the hat. However, I think it looks kind of, I don't know. I think the hat kind of throws everything off personally, my opinion. But however, when people have statues made of them, usually they approve everything. And so, Peg says the hat says champions. Okay. The hat says champions. But yeah, overall, I think it would have been better if she didn't have the hat on. However, maybe she told them to put the hat on. Maybe that's what she told them to do. I don't know. But yeah, I personally, I would have preferred it without the hat. However, it's Dawn Staley's statue. If that's what she wanted, that's what she wanted. It is what it is. But yeah, I do think that it will be a little bit hard for people to just notice who that is right off the bat because of the hat. Whereas I feel like if it wasn't a hat on, even from afar, without even reading the inscription, you would know that it's Dawn Staley. It says at least it ain't a jumbo Eagles hat. She's a huge Eagles fan. She is huge Eagles fan. Amanzia says the hat was in a pic she took after they won. So they're okay. So they're recreating a photo again. I don't know. I'm not the hugest fan of the hat. However, hey, dog, it's it is Dawn Staley's statue, and overall it looks really good. I also guys, look at the design. Do y'all see the detail in that jacket design? I think that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of cool. Okay. Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's officially move on. So whoever that person was, we're moving on. Not because you said so, because I actually really do need to move on so I can finish the stream. This has been a long stream so far. Anyway, let's move on to the final two topics, and they're very much related to each other. The first one is about a homecoming, because tonight is not just another start of WNBA preseason games, but tonight is a homecoming. All right. Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie, in a lot of ways, the heartbeat of the 2023 national team run that LSU made. She is stepping back onto the floor for the first time since she graduated at the PMAC, the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. This is where LSU plays their games. And this time she is doing it in a Chicago Sky jersey. The WNBA scheduled this game on purpose between LSU and the Brazilian national team. The reason why is because this type of moment, it matters. And tonight, we will see Baton Rouge become Angel Reese's home all over again. This is where the legend of Angel Reese happened, right? And as she enters into year 2 of the WNBA, I think it's very, very, very awesome that she is doing it at LSU. So, let's talk about Angel Reese. So, let's not forget, guys, Angel Reese was not just a regular player at LSU. Angel Reese transformed the program. She transferred in to LSU from Maryland. She was able to buy in immediately into what Kim Mulkey wanted to do. And then Angel Reese dominated. She averaged in 2023, 23 and 15. This is someone who won the Most Outstanding Player award at the Final Four. And she led LSU to their first ever national championship game. Her stat lines were ridiculous. Her impact even bigger. She gave us viral moments all throughout that 2023 season. This was the same girl who blocked the shot with holding her shoe, and then this is the girl who had a big I believe it was a big defensive move, and then did a TikTok dance for the camera. This is someone who not only had talent on the court, but brought flair and fun to the game of women's basketball. She gave us unapologetic confidence, And yes, Angel did that you can't see me, did that ring thing to Caitlin Clark that helped to spark a whole new wave of attention to the women's game. Angel Reese was someone who knew how to get attention at LSU, and she backed it up with her gameplay. She made Baton Rouge home, and now she will return to that home where, connections ride kind of deep a little bit, So, this is a awesome reunion, and I wanted to talk about it because I think this is cool. I think this is really, really cool, right? But also, not only did she have great moments at LSU, she also had some hard moments. Y'all remember, after she won that championship, she came back next year and she was put on the bench. And she missed some games. It was specifically around, I believe it was around Thanksgiving time, where she missed a couple of games and she wasn't with the team. And stuff was getting worked through. And Kim pushed her hard, And, that was good for Angel to just continue to grow as a player, grow as a person, and to just get better, right? And Angel said it, that Kim Mulkey, helped to build her up a little bit, She said, coming into this league, you can't be soft. You can't have a thin skin. And Kim Mulkey, in a lot of ways, helped to thicken up the skin, make her a little bit tougher. And that's what she brought last year to Chicago. Last year she was tough. She was resilient. She was had that edginess to her. She was like, hey, can't nobody break me. No one can break me. Now, as we enter into her second season in the WNBA, her first season ended with some respect, right? She led the entire league in rebounding as a rookie with 13.1 boards a game. She was named to the all-rookie team. She averaged 13.6 points a game. And she was someone who the Sky could rely on to just get a bucket, right? Of course, the number one player was Kennedy Carter last season. But, Angel was there making stuff happen. She set the league record for single-season rebounds. And that was before a wrist injury cut her season short. Asia Wilson ended up breaking that record, but you get the point. And for a hot second, Angel had the single-season rebounding record until she got injured, and then it went to Asia Wilson. But Angel Reese was a bright spot for the Chicago Sky team, but there was a lot of stuff that she needed to work on, right? Her finishing at the rim. There was a lot of rebounds not a lot. There was a significant amount of rebounds that she got that was from her own misses, right? The stuff that has to get worked through, right? There's just some bits and pieces about Angel Reese's game that was really good. However, her finishing, her ability to not just throw anything up, but to really, really think about it before she does something. She's working on that. She has been working on that. She's been working on that in Unrivaled. She's legendary. Worked with Lisa Leslie, one of the greatest to ever do it, right? She is looking forward to showing off her new jumper, her ability to shoot threes, her ability to play that point forward, which she used to do in high school. The Chicago Sky have cleaned house. They got a new coach in Tyler Marsh. They got a new point guard in Courtney Vandersloot. And Angel is reuniting with her LSU teammate, Haley Van Lith, who just led TCU to their best season ever. Of course, we see the return of Camila Cardoso, and the Skyscrapers are looking to make an impact this year. Tyler Marsh wants to get Angel Reese to grow beyond just someone who's in the post. He wants her to do that mid-range. He wants her to have more off-the-ball actions that she can do, right? He wants to bring back Angel Reese, the facilitator, right? And I think that's awesome. That is really, really awesome. She is working on her game. She's going to take more jumpers than this season than she probably ever has. Now, will she be missing Quite a bit of them, yes. But the confidence is building, right? The work is happening. And hey, if you don't take them, she'll never know. Her efficiency in those shots may not be that great early on, but as the season goes on, the hope is that it gets better and better and better and better and better. And this guy, in my opinion, is a playoff team. We'll ultimately see if they make the playoffs, but I do think they will. And Angel is going to be a huge part of that. So tonight, Angel will return home at LSU. This is Angel going back to the arena that changed everything for her. It changed her life. It changed her pocketbooks. And it changed LSU forever. I'm excited to see how many people show up because it better be packed. It better be packed. I'm just saying. It better be, okay? So the Bayou Barbie is returning home just for one night. I mean, technically it's not her home. Her home is in Baltimore. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Her college basketball home in LSU. I think it should be pretty cool. But anyway, that is Angel Reese. All right? But, guys, and also Hailey Van Lith did play for LSU for a hot second. I don't think anybody's considering this as a homecoming for Hailey Van Lith, but just want to recognize for the people who may be like, hey, you didn't say that Hailey Van Lith went to LSU. Hailey did go to LSU. She ended up leaving. She only stayed for one season. And so, yeah, anyway. Okay, let's get to y'all super chats. Thank you so much, KB, for the super chat. Says a university where their predecessors couldn't even set foot on campus now houses the statues of Asia and Dawn. That's about more than basketball. If you know, you know. Yeah. I believe when I believe I distinctly remember this. When Asia Wilson had her unveiling of her statue, she was talking about how, was it her grandparents or something like that, where like they couldn't even, like they weren't welcome in that area. And now, their granddaughter is, not only being honored by a university that they couldn't even, step foot on, but is being honored with the statue. Like, again, it is more than just basketball. Yes, I really do focus on the basketball side of it, but it is more than that. It is more than just that. Okay? So thank you, KB, for bringing that up. Thank you. Okay, it was her grandma. Thank you, timeout. It was her grandma that she said that about. Yeah, I remember her talking about that, and I was like, oh, man. But yeah, thank you, KB. Like, here's the deal. Sometimes I miss comments when y'all are writing it in the chat. But when y'all do a super chat, that can actually like specifically just focus on your comment. And KB, thank you so much for saying this comment. Like, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right with that statement, because it really is more than just basketball. So thank you for saying that and sharing that with us. Putting the perspective a little bit wider than just the sole basketball focus. I like that. I really do appreciate that. Jessica, thank you so much for the super chat. Says that legendary silk press deserves to be seen. Yes, cause y'all, she used to be flat out in her hair like that. Like now Dawn Staley rocks the braids and whatnot, and they look good. They some good looking braids. But I'm just saying, like she used to flat out in her hair. Like she was that hair. I think I'm saying hair. Like that, that was, Dawn Staley has gone through some looks, she has gone through some looks, that's for sure. And they've all been really good looks, but I'm just saying, like the braids, that's more of my vibe, because as you can see, I wear braids, cause those, when you get the silk press, you're flat iron your hair out and all that good stuff, like that's a lot of upkeep. That's a lot of upkeep and a lot of heat on your hair. So like, the protective style of the braids, it works well. It works well, guys. It works well. Anyway, random bit of information. Anyway, Jessica, thank you so much again for the super chat. Says that legendary silk press deserves to be seen. The only thing they're missing is Champ. Thanks for being my ESPN. Thank you so much, Jessica. And for those who are like, the only thing they're missing is Champ. What is Champ? Who is Champ? Champ is Dawn Staley's dog. Her dog is so adorable. That dog is literally everywhere. When I see clips of Dawn Staley anywhere, out and about, she could be at practice, she could be walking around in South Carolina, whatever she is doing, that dog, Champ, is with her. That dog is very adorable. Very, very adorable. Okay. Thank you so much, Shay, for the super chat. Says the block with the shoe is the one that brought me back to women's basketball. I didn't know her name at the time. Yeah, like seriously, like I think there's a lot of people who was like, oh, the national championship game in 2023 is the reason why Angel is relevant. And here's the deal. What those people don't recognize is Angel was trending in, I would say the culture, more specifically like Black culture, that entire year until that moment in the national championship game. And it was because of the block with the shoe. It was because of just her antics on the court. Again, Angel Reese was not just a hooper. She was a very talented hooper, but she was fun. Angel Reese was very, very fun. Okay? Right? She was that's what it was all about. She ended up getting did she get a tech or whatever for that? But I thought it was awesome, right? I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. And we saw it was a game. Okay, I'm looking at the clip right now. It was a game against Arkansas. And Angel Reese's shoe came off. And she was picking up her shoe, trying to put it on, but then the girl came to the rim, and Angel was like, she was holding her shoe, and she was like, "Let me block that." And she kind of like leaned over and looked at her. It was hilarious. She blocked the shot, stared down, and was like, She got a tech, but that was a well worth it tech. It was something that was seen and talked about all on Instagram. Like, I was way bigger on Instagram around that time than I am now. But like, I remember seeing like all of these channels that were like culture-based channels. They were not even women's basketball channels. They didn't even care about women's basketball. I don't even remember the last time they talked about women's basketball on those channels. And they were all like, look at this girl. Look. That they were all doing that, you know? And it wasn't just that moment. It was the moment when she did the when she did the dance, and this is just Angel, you know, and it wasn't just that opportunity to play in that championship game and have a lot of attention and do that, you know, you can't see me in the ring thing. It wasn't just that. That whole year, it was like thing after thing after thing after thing that kept Angel Reese on my Instagram feed. And people was posting about her that never rocked with women's basketball. But they thought she was entertaining. They thought she had some attitude to her, and they loved that she was actually good at her job, you know, and that her job was playing basketball, right? So, I just, for those people who are like, oh, it was just one thing, it wasn't. Now, did that thing like blow it up even more? Yeah, sure. But it wasn't just, oh, that was a Tennessee game? Okay, I can't find it, but it was yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny. How she like danced after. Okay. It was against Tennessee. Okay, so Angel was guarding Rakia. Rakia tried to make a move. Angel picked her pocket, ended up getting a layup, stared at Rakia, and then licked her lips and then did her little dance. Like, oh man. It was so funny. It was so funny. Like those are like the memories I had early on with Angel Reese at LSU. Like they were legendary. Absolutely legendary. Iconic, Amy. Yes. Iconic. Iconic. Okay. Yeah, her doing it too small. Yeah, like it's just, man. Krista says, love Angel except when she plays the Fever. Fair enough. Fair enough. I remember I met Benigel Laney Hamilton at a when the WNBA had the All-Star game in Chicago. Benigel Laney Hamilton was there, and she was signing autographs at the WNBA Live area. So she was there signing autographs and whatnot, and I got a photo of her and a signed autograph. One day when I revamp my background, I'm gonna put that photo up. But I was like, but Aisha, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I rock with you. I root for you, except when you play the Chicago Sky. And she looked at me and she was like, "That's fair." She's like, "That's fair. I understand. That's fair." Oh man. Oh man. Anyway, Marcus says Dallas Wings and Las Vegas Aces play tonight preseason. And wow, that is such a great segue to my literal next topic. And it is homecoming, okay? Homecoming part 2. And tonight, me, Mama, Daddy will be back at South Bend. But this time, we are not going to South Bend for a college game. We are going to see WNBA royalty, and it's about to be fun. They're about to come home, and it's about to be awesome. 3 of the greatest players to wear a Notre Dame jersey, Arike Ogunbowale, Jewel Lloyd, Jackie Young, are stepping back onto the floor at Purcell Pavilion, and they're doing it as professional basketball players in a preseason game between the Dallas Wings and the Las Vegas Aces. Arike, Jackie, Jewel, all in one building where it all began. And yeah, yes, Paige Beckers will be making her WNBA preseason debut. But let's talk about the stars, the real stars of tonight, which is going to be those 3 players. So Notre Dame fans, I hope y'all are going to be in attendance. I will be there. I hope y'all will be in attendance for that game. I even took off of work just to go to that game and be able to get there early, right? Because Notre Dame has a lot of legacy players. A lot of legendary players have played at Notre Dame, and a significant amount of those are still in the WNBA. You got Arike Ogunbowale, Notre Dame's all-time leading scorer, the face of that 2018 national championship run, one of the craziest shot makers and shot takers in the game. When we talk about Arike Ogunbowale in college, we talk about NCAA tournaments where game is on the line, time is winding down. Arike out of nowhere drains a crazy 3-point shot, and it's just like, oh my goodness, Arike, oh my goodness. Like, she was fire. Arike was like, ice in her veins in college, right? Like that buzzer beater against Mississippi State. Like, dude, legendary for Arike Ogunbowale. Then you got Jackie Young, the ACC tournament MVP, former ACC tournament MVP player. You know, she was the strong, unbothered, smooth guard for Notre Dame. She was someone who also helped to carry the Irish throughout some stretches, right? And someone who came into the WNBA on a slower start, but has picked it up into gear and has become the elite player that her number 1 pick dictated, right? She has been all of that in a bag of chips. And then you add in Jewel Lloyd. You know, she was a bucket before anybody wanted to call her a bucket. National Player of the Year. One of the first one of the bigger time players to come out of the Muffet McGraw modern era, before she was about to end up leaving out. She had Skylar Diggins Smith, and then we saw Jewel Lloyd come in. I think Jewel Lloyd was a freshman. I think when Skylar Diggins, not Diggins Smith anymore, just Skylar Diggins was a senior, I believe. But yeah, anyway, like they're all back. They're not in college. They're not hanging out in the facilities around Notre Dame, even though they probably will go back to the old stomping grounds, go back to the old buildings that they used to live in and whatnot. But they're coming back as a WNBA player, and I'm excited about it because here's the thing. This is something that the WNBA is starting to build. This preseason way of honoring players by bringing them back home. Last year, Asia Wilson came back home in Columbia, South Carolina, where I believe it was the Aces. They ended up playing the Puerto Rican national team in Columbia, South Carolina. It was an opportunity for Asia to come home and get celebrated, right? And tonight we see Angel come home to LSU. I just talked about that. And we also see Notre Dame's turn, where Arike, Jewel, Jackie come home to Notre Dame. We will also this weekend see Caitlin Clark return home to Iowa. And we will also see Niara Sabally and Sabrina Ionescu return home to Oregon. This is a thing that we will continue to see in the WNBA. We're going to continue to see the past and the future collide. This is a great collision because while the crowd is here, for the legends, right, of the moment, when the legends leave college, they go to the WNBA, they continue to do their thing in the WNBA. It's now time for the legends to return back home, come back home, get celebrated in front of the crowd that saw you before you were this big giant player, right? I can imagine there's some people who probably are season ticket holders for Notre Dame, and they're coming to this game tonight, and they're like, "Hey, Jewel, remember I used to sit here when when you were playing, right?" That's what I'm saying. This is a great thing for the fans who were there, rocking out with players when they were in college. Now they're coming back, and now it's full circle moment. It is a way to have the WNBA engage in goodwill, right? These are players who did their thing at the highest of levels. And yeah, Goodness Rated says about time. The WNBA should have been doing that, honoring these great college players. The WNBA was noted for where great women college players go to die. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Yeah, there's a lot of players who get drafted, and then you just never really hear from them again, right? And so anyway, it's a whole thing. It is a whole thing. But yeah, I did just want to talk about this because I think it's a great move by the WNBA, smart move by the WNBA. Again, this is exactly what you should be doing, and exactly what you should keep doing for the WNBA. And I think they will, right? The fan base is here. I think there will be a lot of fans in attendance today at Notre Dame. I think it will be at the PMAC. Of course, we all know that Iowa sold out. The WNBA. Here's the deal. The WNBA, I may talk about this more tomorrow, but the WNBA needs to make a preseason game in Iowa a regular thing, and maybe even a regular season game in Iowa an annual thing. Strike while the iron is hot. Whatever cities get the most attendance for these homecoming games, go back to that arena time and time again. This is an opportunity for the WNBA not to just honor these legends, but to make money and build more goodwill in areas where you're not playing yet. All right. The WNBA doesn't play in Louisiana. They don't play in Iowa. They don't play in Oregon, right? They don't play in Columbia, South Carolina. They don't play in those places. So if you can go there, make a boatload of money, go back. Go back. Because these fans, these local fans in these areas, in these college towns, they want to come back. They want to see their people. They want to see their people. Okay? Let's see. Thank you so much, Chris, for the super chat. Salute to you. Thank you for your support. Thank you. And we got a comment from Jason. Thank you so much, Jason, for your super chat. Thank you. Says, hey, Quita, with Georgia Amore's injury, could that open up a spot for undrafted players? Same for international players who don't show. Do you know the rules, how the rules work for stuff like that? Well, great question. First, let's answer the first question about Georgia Amore. Does that open up a spot? Yes, it opens up a spot for an undrafted player. I don't know. I think it opens up a spot for a drafted player to actually make a roster. I would say one of those players that to me was sort of on the bubble about even making the roster was a player like a Lucy Olsen. Now, does this help Lucy Olsen's case to make a roster because Georgia Amore is unfortunately hurt? Yeah, it does. I think it does. Right? I think it does help. I think it does change some things, right? And that's a legit thing. That is a legit thing. It's unfortunate. It sucks. But yeah, this will lead to an opportunity for other players, right? This will lead to another opportunity, right? And then the question about international players. If international players do not show, if they were on a training camp contract or they were just drafted, as long as they don't sign if they're on a rookie, if they were drafted, they have to sign their rookie contract. If a player is international, they don't plan on coming over to play in the WNBA this season. For the most part, I think they just wouldn't sign the rookie contract, and they would just wait until they're ready to come, and then they'll sign it, I think. But yeah, or if you're overseas and you're like, actually, I'm not coming, then if a team has you locked in on their roster, they'll just suspend you. They'll just suspend you for the season. And then they'll have that spot that they can give it to somebody else. Whoa, thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you so much, Kristen, for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support. Says, so pumped for the start of the W tonight. Not sure if you already covered this, but what does it mean to draft and stash rookies? It means to draft a player that you know has no intention of coming over to the WNBA this season, but you want their rights because you don't want anybody else to get their rights. You look at them and you're like, oh my goodness, even if this person doesn't come over this year, they have so much talent that I need to have the rights to them. Even if they don't want to come over this year, maybe I can get them to come over the following year or the year after that, but I need their rights. And so we'll draft you, and I know you won't come over, but we just need you. You know what I'm saying? There's also there's also a part 2 of that, I think, which is maybe a lesser extent. But players who draft, teams who draft international players, and they're like, actually, don't come over right now. Actually, you may want to come over right now, but don't come over right now because we don't have a spot for you just yet. But again, we want your rights for the future. Don't come over here right now. Wait a year, and then come over. Right? I think it's both. I think it's like 2 different things, but for the most part, we want your rights, and we know you're not gonna come over. So yeah. Anyway, Rotu says you're balling, Quita, you balling today with the show. You must be off today. I am off today. I did take off, but I do. There's actually one thing I do actually need to finish, for work real quick. So I'm gonna hop on for maybe about 15 minutes and then hop off. But yeah, I am off today. Man, this stream has been 1 hour and 24 minutes. Yeah, y'all not going to see this normally from me, okay? Y'all are not going to see this normally, okay? This is not going to happen very often. This only happens when I am off, and I took off specifically to go to see the Notre Dame game. Aces versus the Dallas Wings. I think this is going to be very, very fun. I'm excited about it. And so, yeah. Correct. Yeah, VAH. Yeah. Just says draft and stash could also be for people who are injured, like Elizabeth Kitley or Mackenzie Holmes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Quita says Quita is playing hooky. It did get approved, but here's the thing: like, it's a lot harder for me to play hooky and be like, oh, I'm sick, or oh, I'm blah blah blah, because like literally I'm doing a live stream, and so like there's no way. Like, one, I'm not gonna lie, but even if I did, like there's no way to even do that, because like they can literally hop online and be like, hey, you were you were live for an hour this morning. How are you sick? um. Anyway, anyway. Energy. Thank you so much, Didi and Buddy too, for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Says, can you explain this a bit more? Why don't they come over if they declare for the draft? Question mark. I don't know. It could be that some players, maybe their agent just told them, hey, declare for the draft. Declare. You know, I'm talking specifically about the overseas players. I don't totally know why some players who are not ready to come over to the WNBA, why they make the decision to enter the draft. I don't know. I think the only way for me to know is I actually need to talk to one of those players who was drafted and stashed, right? To know for sure. Cliff says they go Quita alive. Well, that's hilarious. That's what they would say too. That's probably what they would say. um, but yeah, that's funny. Thank you so much, LL Cool Nay. I love your name. Says, love this channel. Well, love you guys too. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome, and that is why I call you the awesome people of the internet, guys. That's why I call y'all that, because y'all are awesome. And I love hanging out with y'all every single morning. Guys, we got some big news coming to the channel at the start of the WNBA season, so be on the lookout for that. I'm excited about it. It's huge news that is going to change the future of this channel as we know it. And I'm excited about it. So, yeah. Anyway. I'll see y'all next one. Y'all have a good one. I don't have nothing else to say, and I got something I got to do real quick, and I got to walk these dogs. Y'all have a good day. Be kind to someone. Be respectful to someone. Just like South Carolina has honored Dawn Staley while she is still living, tell somebody what you think about them. Tell people. It's important for you to do that, not just wait until it is too late. Tell people what you think about them and honor them while you can. Thank you so much, W. Why did I say W? That's clearly a Y. YJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, thank you, Quita. Well, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for rocking out with me. Yeah. It should be fun. Anyway. Thank you so much, YJ. Thank you. So many people gave super chats. Thank you so much, LL Kune, Didi and Buddy too, Kristen, Jason, KB, Chris, Shay. Thank you so much, Jessica, KB again, and James with several at the beginning. Thank you all so much for rocking with me. Thank you for your support of this channel. And I will see y'all again next time. Till next time, guys. Bye. Oh, also hit that like button. We got 400 likes. Anyway, hit that like button anyway out. Bye.